Just recently do an interview and said you're not a very good swimmer. Here you are back at the pool. What are you expecting out of it?
Most things, I'm adequate at most things, but swimming is not something that I'm great at. I'm totally comfortable around water and I'll swim. My technique is not very good. But this is pretty exciting actually. You know, I wasn't really aware that competitive life-saving was a sport. I mean, I knew some people did it, but I didn't realize that in Ontario there were so many organizations, and I didn't realize coming here that there were so many local athletes who had gone on to compete at the national level and international competition. So this is pretty cool. I'm enjoying it.
So have they warned you as to what you might be doing?
Oh, I've already done stuff. You'll have to talk to the organizers about the specifics, but you know, when they're in competition, they do multiple events that somewhat recreate life-saving scenarios. So there's dummies that are sunken at the bottom of the pool. They have to go down and rescue them in record time, and there's rope throws and pulling someone through the water and all that business. So I've been talking to some of the senior athletes who are high school students or university students, and then also some of the little athletes who are probably 8 or 9 years old.
How does this pique your interest? I'm sure you have a staff, but you must have a say in it as well.
Yeah, well, I'm the producer of the show, so I get to choose where we go, but a lot of the segments on the show, they come from viewers, and so it was one of the mothers of one of the athletes contacted the office and told us about this, and that's how we learned about it, and then we looked into it, and that's why we're here. I mean, it's really important that viewers contact us, because we take time looking for things to do, but we don't have eyes and ears all over the country, and yet that's the type of show we are. We'll go anywhere, so we need people in the community to contact us and tell us what they're doing. This is the perfect kind of event for us. It's athletes doing something interesting that a lot of people mightn't be familiar with, and having a lot of fun, and it's great when it's something that's not entirely mainstream, because then not that we're an educational show, but you can turn people on to a new sport or a new activity, which is pretty cool.
Rick, can you tell me what was your most challenging activity so far with the kids?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, there's a competition, and I'm actually going to take part of the competition, and normally I don't do that, but today we figured I'd do it and I'd give it a shot. I'm not a strong swimmer, so it's all a bit of a challenge. And you don't notice, like I say, I'm a confident swimmer, like I feel totally fine, but when you're at a cottage and you're swimming around in the water, you feel like, yeah, I'm not that bad. But when you're with these guys, these young men and women, they're like super swimmers.
And have you done any prep for this?
I'm stretching right now.
Maybe you're ready, maybe?
Yeah.
But you're going to be back in the water on your next show a little different.
Yeah, on the show this week, I'm also in the water, but I'm in the ocean, and I'm in the middle of the ocean wearing a survival suit that will allow you to survive for 25 or 27 hours in the ocean, and I'm rescued by Cormorant helicopters. So I'm in the ocean, and a helicopter comes out of nowhere, and this guy in a wetsuit gets lowered down, and he swoops into the ocean and puts the thing around me, and we get winched up 75 feet in the air and then take off. That was pretty cool.
So this morning's rope toss must have been a piece of cake.
You know what? All the segments are different. I mean, I already know that we have a great segment here today, because the kids are so sharp, and they're really good interviews. So you can't compare them. That's the beauty of my show. What I like about the show, one week I can be getting hoisted into a helicopter, another week I'm just meeting some students who are doing something interesting. I mean, it's always different.
Okay, so what scares you? What will you never see?
There's a group of people in Canada that stand on the back of horses, and the horses run through obstacle courses, and they always invite me, and I always say, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And they go, why? You did this, you did that. It's because I'm terrified to stand on the back of a horse, which to me makes perfect sense. Why would one do that? But they take it personally, and they go like, why won't you try our sport?
Yeah,
but I'm just afraid of their sport, and I just can't imagine ever doing that.
No,
so some things.
I saw you hanging out off the CN Tower with Jan Arden.
Well,
How did that go?
I'm pretty good with heights.
Are you?
And heights are a good thing if you're pretty good with them, because a lot of people go, you are so brave. But I'm not brave. I'm just not afraid of heights.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. It takes no skills to be not afraid of heights.
Mm.
Have you had one memorable moment with these kids so far today?
You know what? I was I was talking to two of the younger athletes, and I'm not sure how old they were, probably 8 or 9 years old, or maybe a little older. And but one little guy was telling me how much he wants to be a lifeguard, and I thought that was really neat because you know, often when you're that age, you want to be an astronaut or something. But I like the fact that he has this goal, and he can see people around him who have become lifeguards, and he's really keen on being a lifeguard, and you can just tell he's going to be a lifeguard. Imagine having things figured out so early in life. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. But he's got the first part of his life figured out.
I've got nothing to do with this, but what do you think of the Bruce Gray winters so far?
Well, I have the picture on my phone of road closed, which was what I came across last night.
A local delegate.
Yeah. So you know, yeah, I know. We got winter tires. We knew what we were getting into, and we knew there would be a hotel wherever the road stopped, and the road was open this morning, and here we were.
And you were in Kincardine at the snowmobile races as well, too.
I did do the Kincardine snowmobile races.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've shot around here a fair bit, I guess, over the last, you know, 11, 12 years. Yeah.
What's the lure? Interesting people, neat scenery?
Well, you know, today is all about interiors, not exteriors, but you know, the elements that make a great shoot for me are, well, interesting people, and luckily we have those all over the country, and beautiful scenery, and we have that all over the country. You guys obviously have it in spades. Doing something that people mightn't be that familiar with, and that's why this is a winner this year.
Does your appeal to such wide demographics surprise you in any way?
When we started the show, we were very much an adult show, or at least that was the idea. And we knew the show would evolve, but it was a bit of a surprise to me that the show evolved into such a family show. You know, I said things in my first year on television that I would never say on TV now. It's just a self-censoring thing because that's a big part of our audience is families, you know, and I can't tell you how many times parents will say to me that, like, it's the only time my teenager will sit in a room to watch TV with me is when your show is on, and I love that. And I love the fact that most of our mail comes from little kids, our email, but yet I can go to a university and 1,000 students will show up if I'm doing one of my one-man shows. So that's what you hope for in television. We didn't plan it that way, but that's how it turned out to be. I also think the show is so unapologetically Canadian. It's just such a Canadian show, and we don't pretend to be anything else, and I think that appeals to people. It's a big country, and it's very hard to get around the country the way I do. So if anyone has an interest in the country, I think they like watching the show. They like seeing how fishermen operate on the East Coast, and then how life-saving happens in British Columbia, how things are in Nunavut. You can see all that in the season.
Is there one life-saving skill that you have learned today that you will practice in your life?
So far, yeah, well, yeah, hold on to the rope when you're throwing the rope. That was the first mistake. I threw the rope and didn't hold on. I didn't do that on purpose, but yeah, so I'll remember that.